The first and most important thing I learnt is that if I didn't give up, I wouldn't fail. I remember at the time, in the very early days of Pure 360, the email marketing firm I put together, when was that, 2002, 2003? I remember reading the book called The Naked Leader, and it had that statement in it, and that has stayed with me forever. If I never give up, I will never fail. And that is the key thing. I never give up, ever. And therefore I haven't failed. The Crunch project, during the tail end of Pure 360, I was approached by an accountant and his friend with an idea for an accounting software. I sort of kind of grasped the idea of challenging and disrupting the way accountancy had been done with a accountancy software and an account manager and an accountant to deliver to micro businesses. Now, I ran so fast into this project, it was unbelievable. And the mistake I made was not actually checking out how complex it was. It was so complicated that I remember the early days not sleeping too much and on occasion at peak stress wanting to go down to the pub, our local pub, and not just have a few pints, but literally climb into the barrel and just get enveloped by all of that, a beautiful lager, and just forget. I think the big lesson learned there is naivety is absolutely brilliant and a perfect trait in an entrepreneur to dive into areas that no one else would dream of doing, especially if it's not your profession. I'm not an accountant, but I think it needs to be married with a sense of some checking to understand the risks and the complexities there. The other thing that I've learned is Crunch was kind of useful in the fact that it charged for full accounting services, so we generated a lot of cash. So although my early years was so fraught with stress, it wasn't too long into the project, really, a good 2.5 years, that we were generating so much cash, we didn't have to worry about investment. And that was fantastic in one way, but not so good in another, because we're using our own cash to invest in projects and to test ideas. Later on in Crunch's history, we did get investors in, and we didn't take their money, but the process was so useful, showing what the business should be performing, how the business should be structured. You know, the investors and the investment process was phenomenally useful. So a mistake I think I've made that I would change again is, even if we've got stacks of cash coming in, go and see investors and learn that process, because at some point you're going to want to sell the business, and the shape that an investor wants to see it in is exactly the same shape as what a suitor will want the business in. The one key thing I've learned is not to burn out and to focus on myself. And I think it was year 3 in the early part of Crunch's history that I did actually burn out. I had to have 3 months off. The team ran it. Obviously, strategically, it didn't grow at all. The business just carried on running, and it enabled me to go and go to Australia for one and just sit on a beach and try and relax. This is going to be one hell of a roller coaster. You won't be able to get off, and if you do get off, you've given up. And you've lost everything you've worked for. So whatever you do, hang on. And most importantly, enjoy the journey. There's going to be some amazing highs when you win massive deals, or the client growth goes flying, or you solve something, or you get on TV, amazing piece of PR. There's going to be amazing highs, and there's going to be some terrible lows where you have no money. Systems have failed. It is just an unbelievable experience. So enjoy that journey for all the good and the bad.